Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet one of the top criminal defense attorneys in North Texas. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I admire the practice of law, especially people who do it at the top level. And when I think about somebody who is at the top of their game, I think about my next guest. Jeremy Rosenthal is in the studio. He's with Rosenthal, Kalabus Therrian. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me today.
So I'm fascinated about journeys because I remember wanting to be a TV reporter when I was just a kid. When did you know you wanted to be a lawyer?
I've always kind of felt like I've wanted to be a lawyer. Maybe it's not being very good at math or being squeamish with blood, but ever since I was a little kid, just an inferiority complex, wanting to fight in a civil capacity. That's always just sort of been it for me.
And you went to SMU, which has a fabulous law school. When did you decide on criminal law?
So it was a bit of a journey to get to the criminal law. I had a friend who was a prosecutor in Collin County, convinced me to take the job up there. I was working with a civil litigation firm. I worked for 2 or 3 of those. Really wasn't finding my stride, and then I went up there and instantly loved it.
And what did you discover when you started to work for the prosecution? Because you spent 2 years with Collin County.
You get a lot of trial experience being a prosecutor, and you see a lot of cases. You see it from the state standpoint, which at the time you don't really know it. It's a touch of an echo chamber. You get used to all the applause, all the high fives, all the jurors who want you to marry their daughter. You see all that stuff, and it kind of broadens as you sort of go, as many career paths do to the defense side, and you see the broader picture of it, yeah.
And I love it then when you jump to the other side, because as a prosecutor, you got to build a case. As a defense attorney, you have to tear it apart. And anybody who's had that experience putting together a case is probably better than your typical attorney.
That's true, and you get to see it from both sides. You have different challenges as prosecutors and defense lawyers, depending on whether you're state or federal. The state prosecutors just have a lot of volume that they're dealing with, and what I like to tell folks is I've got a human. I've got a person who's playing with real money, who's playing with real consequences, who's got a real skin in the game. The prosecutor, on the other hand, is kind of playing with some monopoly money. So your advantage is that they've got a million cases, but their cases tend to be cookie cutter, and they've got law enforcement working for them who in North Texas do a pretty good job by and large.
Sure. Well, I've got a question for you, because many jurors, their first experience is what they see on film. Mm-hmm. Do lawyers feel pressure to be theatrical and act like the lawyer that we see on TV and the movies?
Jeff, it took me a long time to learn this, but the way to win a jury trial is to be yourself. Juries can spot a phony, and whether it's theatrical or whether it's bland, you just have to be yourself. And if you are yourself, if you spend 2, 3, 4 days with a jury in close proximity, they're going to figure it out, and they're going to figure out that this is just this person. If you're flashy sometimes, it can be off-putting, it can be a little intimidating, but you just can't turn on and off your personality, whatever that may be.
Sure. Well, I want to give you a chance to brag about your dream team. You've really put together quite a team. As we scroll down this page, talk about what you look for in partners and associates.
So what we've built is a team of, I use a lot of sports analogies in my practice, which gets a little bit annoying, and every once in a while, well, A lot of times I deal with folks who don't really watch or understand sports, but my high school baseball coach used to say, we're going to come and we're going to smack it around the park. That's what I look for in my team. I look for lawyers who know what they're doing, who can solve a problem a number of different ways. We can be aggressive with the prosecutors. We can be aggressive with the courts. We don't have to be that way. We can be reasonable. We can be thorough. But more than anything, I want to make sure that our clients know that we care. So above all else, it's important that our lawyers be able to connect with our clients every single time, let our clients feel better about their problems. We've built a team where what I like to say is we go to every corner of the criminal practice, whether it be at the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, fighting an innocent claim from years before, or at 2:00 in the morning when mom is on the internet panicked because somebody got arrested or they're interviewing people. So we want to make sure that we can cover it all and that we have the lawyers to kind of cover some of those different spaces and fit all the things that we just talked about.
Sure, and I have to imagine practicing law in Collin County as long as you have, you build up a great reputation for integrity so that when you show up in the case, the prosecution knows they need to bring their A game.
That's a great question, Jeff. So there's a lot of lawyers out there that, and a lot of people out there that feel like a good lawyer is somebody who can go in and make everybody laugh, not make people angry, and just sort of get along. We get a lot of questions. Do you know the judge? Do you know this? Do you know that? No lawyer can tell you, well, I'm going to do better because I know the judge. That's unethical. What I can tell you is that if the judge does know me, they know how I practice law. They know we're going to be thorough. They know we're going to be prepared. And so to answer that question, we have to make sure that we have the ability, really in all capacities, to win a case however it needs to be won, whether that be being aggressive, whether that includes begging for mercy in some instances. Folks come in with all types of situations, all types of scenarios. They come in and maybe the odds are just really stacked against them and we just need to come and say we're sorry. So it takes a lawyer who kind of knows that nuance and who can play whatever card is the best for that particular case.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a favorite case so far? Is there, as you look over your career, this was like the highlight?
Well, I've got several. that stick out. So yes.
Give us one.
Well, the jury trials always stand out because those require, and I don't know how much detail I can get into here, but the jury trials always stick out because those are the real courtroom battles. And sometimes they might take a week, and you didn't think you could win it when the client first came into the office. And as the case comes on, you really overcome some things. You overcome difficult witnesses. You overcome difficult prosecutors, sometimes judges who don't see it the same way that you see it. So a lot of those are probably my most cherished memories. Then again, probably the case that I know I can't talk about, but the single most case that I'm proud of is a deal that we struck. I'm speaking this, and a lot of my game, Jeff, is to tell you how many push-ups I can do and what a wonderful human I am. But this summer I'm speaking at Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association's Rusty Duncan, which is our advanced criminal law. I asked to speak on the topic of plea negotiations, even though every lawyer will tell you about all the trials that we do, and I certainly won't shy away from that. But I think of it like this. I can convince a juror who is neutral. I can hopefully convince that person. It's really hard to convince somebody who's already dead set against you. And a lot of times if I'm dealing with a prosecutor who just, it's like trying to convince a Packers fan that the Packers suck. Good luck with it, but that's some of the things that I'm the most proud of.
Sure. As you can tell, Jeremy has a lot of personality, and I was watching some of your podcasting. During the height of the pandemic, you had a very popular show, and you really show your personality. Let's roll a little bit of the video so you can kind of talk about why did you do the show? What was the theme? What was your experience?
Right. So the Lawyer Show podcast, I probably could have come up with a better name if I had to do it again. I just wanted to talk to different lawyers who didn't do what I did. And it was a great learning experience for the reason that the more and more I talk to lawyers, the more it's different, the more it's the same, if you will. And what I mean by that is that we all have really comparable, similar experiences, whether you're in intellectual property, whether you're doing real estate transactions. I got to learn about doing fashion and makeup law. And you'll be surprised that the practice of law is the practice of law. You're going to deal with jerks everywhere. You're going to deal with difficult situations. You're going to deal with customers and clients that are focused on the bottom line and might not care about creativity. Then again, you're going to deal with really people who are not risk averse. But it was a really good experience in getting to learn a lot about my industry.
Okay, you've been an amazing guest. We're almost out of time. So final thoughts, what would you like to leave people with?
I don't know.
Well, if somebody's watching this and says, I think I just found my lawyer, what is the process like? They contact you through the website?
Right, yeah. So you call our firm and you talk to them, they set you up. And set up a time to come and visit. We're not going to diagnose any kind of problem over the phone typically. What we're going to do is we're going to have you in. And the first thing I always do with my commitment to anybody who comes into my office is that you're going to leave feeling better. And you're going to leave clearing some of the rocks out of your shoes. You're going to leave feeling that at least some of those unknowns out there are now quantifiable. May not love the answers because nobody's happy to be in my office. It sucks. I love my office. It's a beautiful place. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the furniture, if you will, and then people come there and they've got a long face and it's like, oh yeah, you've just your loved one just got arrested, or you've been through the ringer and somebody rolled a hand grenade into your living room. So, but I'm committed to making sure folks feel better when they leave. We're going to answer some questions, and we're going to find a pathway to get out of it best we can.
Yeah, and I love that. I love your website. TexasDefenseFirm.com is the website. I don't know if you had to buy that, but that's a great.
Did you want a self-deprecating story here?
Sure.
We're going to get get really real here.
Okay,
Jeff.
let's go ahead and get real.
So I have a lot of ex-law partners out there, and what I found is that I'm the common denominator. So maybe I'm difficult to get along with from a law practice business standpoint, or so I'm told. Our web guy told me to get TexasDefenseFirm.com because it's easier than adding and subtracting names every time somebody leaves. So this way, it doesn't matter what happens. Unless Texas changes, and I don't see that happening, I think we got a website that's going to stay.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.